Hey, Mark Davis here. We're going to talk about a Carolina rig. And you know, I've been at this game for a long time. The Carolina rig has always been a kind of a staple for me. And we've seen sort of a resurgence of the Carolina rig in recent days here. So I want to show you a new lure, and you can see this one's already pretty well chewed up. This is the new Scound Bug. I'll say it again, Scound Bug from Strike King. Crawfish imitation. You see I've got it rigged up here on my Carolina rig. I'm using 20-pound fluorocarbon line. I've got a 2/0 little round bend hook rigged up right there. I've got about a 3-foot leader, and I've got a swivel, a bead, and a 3/4 ounce tungsten Strike King weight. I'm fishing on a 7'10" Lew's rod and my hyper mag reel. And you know, I've always said that a Carolina rig was a Bubba finesse rig, and what I mean with that is it is finessey, but yet, you know, you're doing this with casting rod and you know, an 8-foot rod, and you know, big line and a casting reel. So though it's finessey, you know, you can get away, you know, with fishing in heavy cover, you know, certainly, you know, around a lot of rock. And the thing about a Carolina rig, one thing to keep in mind, if you're wanting to, anytime you're wanting to penetrate cover and you're really targeting cover, a Carolina rig's not really probably what you want to fish with. But if you're fishing contours and, you know, hard structures, bottom compositions, drops, humps, points, channels, things of that nature, where you're actually fishing maybe some sparse cover, but not heavy cover, a Carolina rig is a great way to go. You can cover a lot of water with it. And one thing I would tell you about a Carolina rig, and I've taught a lot of folks how to Carolina rig over the years, you can fish it too fast, but you can't fish it too slow. And I said, you know, you can fish it too fast, but you can't fish it too slow. So I like to it's just a drag, and all I'm doing, I'm feeling the weight. And I'm gonna drag. And here's the thing about a Carolina rig too. So I talk about a lot about fishing it slow, but you can, if you're, you know, you need to slow it down once you find the fish. But you know, I'll fish it fairly fast, much like you would a football jig or something of that nature. You know, in order to find the fish. Once I start getting some bites, then I'll slow down. It's probably the very best technique I know of to, like on post-frontal conditions and fish that just won't hardly bite, especially largemouth. You slow it way down and almost soak it, you know, so you're feeling with that weight. And one of my favorite techniques, if you've got a lake where you've got some deep grass and you've got an inside clean edge, and that edge may be in 3 feet, you know, 8 feet, 10 feet. A lot of lakes, you know, that have grass like hydrilla, in the spring, that water will rise and you'll have an inside edge. So I like to cast that Carolina rig in that clean area on the inside of the grass, between the grass and the shoreline, and then I want to work it back. And just about the time that my weight starts to hit the grass, you know you're right on that grass line, and that's kind of where you're usually going to get bit. And then I'm going to work it about 2 pulls out into the grass, and I'm going to wind it in and make another cast. But you can cover a lot of water with it, and but the beauty of it is when you get around some fish, you can really slow it down. And you can see right here, I'm in rock, and I'm trying to just pop it out of that rock and let it lay. Let it sit and work it along. Because if you can imagine what that little crawfish, what that Scound Bug looks like on that trailer behind that. Of course, that weight's, you know, you're fishing the weight, but here back behind 3 or 4 feet up the end of your leader, you know, here's that Scound Bug, and every time you pull it, you know, it swims, and then you're stopping it, and then it's settling out. And then you tighten up on it and you pull it again, and it swims, and then, you know, it settles out again. And now one thing about a Carolina rig, I hear people think, well, the bait's actually floating. Well, it doesn't float. Soft plastic does not float, but it does glide back behind that weight. So when you move it, we'll take another quick look at the scound bug and you'll understand. You can see how it swims. You can see that tail swimming. So imagine, you know, with it down there, and then as I'm popping it, then you can see right there it's settling out. Then I'm moving it, then it settles out. So you've got, man, it's a great action, and it's a great technique. And the great thing about it too, you know, it works. You know, in most parts of the country, it's, you know, 9 months out of the year you can catch fish with a Carolina rig, and it works on all 3 species of bass. You know, largemouth, smallmouth, and spotted bass. So it's a great technique. It's something, if you've not tried it, or maybe you've not picked it up in a while, you might want to pick it up again, because it still works.